Brew day. Today we are brewing EdWort's Haus Pale Ale. It's a recipe that is very famous on the internet from home brewers all over the world. It's got a lot of talk about it and how it's so good, and I wanted to give it a try and see what all the fuss is about. This is the first time in a really long time that I'm brewing someone else's recipe and not my own. I didn't alter it at all. I want to do it exactly as it is and see how it comes out. So anyways, just a quick update. This is the bourbon barley wine. Still fermenting, 10 gallons of it. I got the barrel here sitting. I'm going to fill this up with water today so it doesn't dry out or anything. I thought I was going to transfer these over earlier, but it turns out that these things are taking a lot longer than expected. I took a gravity reading yesterday and it was only at 1050. It started at 1087, so it's still got a ways to go. And then I'm going to rack one of them into this bourbon barrel. But anyways, EdWort's Haus Pale Ale. We're heating up 3.5 gallons of water to 169 degrees. Okay, we're doing this inside. Here's the recipe. It's all over the internet. I'm sure you've seen it before. 8 pounds of pale malt, 2 pounds of Vienna malt, half a pound of crystal tin. And we're using Nottingham dry yeast. I don't ever use dry yeast, but like I said, I'm going to do it exactly like it's done. And all Cascade hops. 1 ounce at 60 minutes, half an ounce at 30 minutes, 1/4 ounce at 15, and 1/4 ounce at 5. So, mashing at 152. I've got the grains here, already crushed. And once we heat up the water, we'll start the mash.
What are you doing now?
Alright, so our water is heated up to 168 degrees. Pour that in to the mash tun and stir in our grains. So be careful when you do this. 168 degree water, 3.5 gallons. I'm adding 8 grams of gypsum, which is just a salt, a water salt to give the water a different profile. It's apparently better for pale ales, so we're going to try it. Alright, let's put the lid back on here so we don't lose any of that heat. And I'm also going to add the pH stabilizer that we add, 1 tablespoon. In here as well. This will stabilize the pH during the mash. That way we get better conversion. We'll give that a good mix in there to dissolve. Might as well, when we got it open, we'll start adding our grains. I've already shown you the recipe here, so this is about 10 pounds or so, 10.5 pounds of grain. Can you see, or is it too dark?
See, you dumping it in there.
Okay. And like I said, you just want to mix as you stir like this so it doesn't get any clumps. Get a nice consistency. And once again, this is the EdWort's Pale Ale, the Haus Pale Ale. So I want to see what all the fuss is about and see if this beer is actually as good as everyone says it is. So, get all our grains in there. One more good stir. Okay.
Get the lid back on so we don't lose no heat.
Yep. Lid back on.
Yeah, we'll let that baby work.
Let that baby work. Yep. I'm going to put this in here so you can monitor the temperature. Stick it right down there in the middle. Like I said before, this isn't 100% accurate because the heat, there's heat pockets in there, so it's different temperature depending on where you put it, but it'll give you an idea of where you're at. Okay, so we have finished the mash, and we have fly sparged. The same thing we did on the video of the Saison. So I didn't show it on this video. It was a waste of time. So you've seen it before, but as you can see, it's barely draining out. We need to get just a little bit more up to that little screw there. That's where my 6.5 gallons about for our pre-boil volume. And we got a little bit of water in there. It's just draining really slow at the end. But then we'll start our boil and we'll start adding our hops. Drinking a Dogfish Head 60 minute. Okay, so we're about to reach the boil any second here. This is EdWort's Haus Pale Ale. I'm excited about this one. It's got a lot of hype behind it, and we're going to see if it lives up to its reputation. But we should be at boiling any second here, and then I've got 1 ounce of Cascade. Smell delicious. Cascade hot pellets to go in for our 60-minute boil. Basically, it's a pretty simple recipe. 8 pounds of pale malt, 2 pounds of Vienna malt, and half a pound of Crystal 10. 1 ounce of Cascade at 60 minutes, a half an ounce at 30, a 1/4 ounce at 15, and a 1/4 ounce at 5. And I'm going to add Irish moss so we can get a little clarity. With 10 minutes left to go, I'm going to add a teaspoon. I measured the original pre-boil gravity. It was 1045, so that's right on track for about 75% efficiency. The original gravity is supposed to be 1052, so after we boil off a gallon, we should be getting close to that. Alright guys, cheers. Alright, we got our beer up to boiling. I turned the heat off. I'm going to add 1 ounce of Cascade because this very well could boil over. So 1 ounce of Cascade, and I'll turn the heat back on. We had a really good boil going, so it's still kind of boiling. So that's our 60-minute edition. Alright, we're back up to a boil. So we're starting our boil now. It's 5:15, 1 hour. We're also making beer bread. Why not use the spent grains while you got them? Bread machine is going. Okay, it's about 30 minutes in. We're going to add our second addition, half an ounce of Cascade. $15 minutes left. We're going to add our 15-minute addition. 0.25 ounces of Cascade. Get a bowl of warm water, and then we take our dry yeast and we sprinkle it in. This is rehydrating the yeast. We'll let those sit for a little bit and hydrate. And we have the wort chiller in the wort to sterilize it, and we're going to add our last hop addition, just 0.25 ounces of Cascade.
Something happened in my life that I never thought would happen. I became envious of Pete, the Gooch. Never thought it would happen, but I was like, he got to make it.
Well, if you wanted to kiss me so bad,
Alright, so we're going to cool the wort here. We've got the hose connected to the wort chiller. As you can see, the water coming out is very hot. You can see all the steam coming out here. So this is the next step, cooling your wort. And of course, drinking a beer. Alright, we've been chilling for about, I don't know, 15 minutes, no, 20 minutes or so. And our yeast is hydrated. So we're waiting for this to cool down. It's about 80 degrees right now. We're gonna cool it down at least 5 more degrees and then pitch the yeast. Okay, we got about 5.5 gallons. Got the yeast here. Gonna go ahead and add the yeast into the beer. There we go. Gonna put the lid on. That, we'll give it a good shake, and then we'll put it in the fermentation chamber and let it sit for about a week or week and a half.